Hello, Steve Mills back with the Results Podcast. Great to be so, and welcome. If you've just listened to this for the first time, then it's great to have you here. If you're a regular, then thank you very much for your continued support. If you think about follow-up, which is a real key to growing a business, so many businesses that I speak to are really bad at following up. They don't follow up quick enough. They don't have a system for doing it. They don't have scripts for doing it. They don't follow up often enough or frequently enough. And basically, they're losing a load of money that's just sitting on the table waiting to be asked for it, if you've got a really good follow-up system and if you've been trained in that system. And that's really the message behind this particular podcast. You've got to have a system. Let's just take each of those elements. The number one fact I'd say is people, generally speaking, and when I say people, I mean businesses. I'm talking about salespeople and those involved in selling. They don't follow up quick enough. I made an inquiry the other day with Porsche, right? I've got a Porsche, okay? There you go, I've said it. I've got a Porsche Boxster, okay? Now, that inquiry has taken a week. A week. They've still not got back to me. I sent them an email. I didn't hear anything. I followed up saying, did you get my email? I've still not heard anything. I phoned them up and they apologised, said that somebody get in touch with me, and they've still not got in touch with me. Now, give me a break. This is not something that's going to cost me, £10. This is actually a repair to my car, so it's only probably, hopefully, a few £100, but it could easily be £400-500, and then, they start to build their relationship with me, and, that could turn into, I don't know, maybe me buying a new one, but, my point being that they're missing out. They're massively missing out. So number one thing, I suppose, is to follow up quickly. Speed stuns, as my good friend Peter Thompson always used to say. So we need to follow up quickly. Next thing we need to do, we need to follow up persistently. When do you give up? Well, as Peter would say, keep going till they die or buy. I think that was just slightly tongue-in-cheek by Peter, but probably not too far off what he really believes. And one thing I can tell you is that it's probably a couple of years back now, but I got a sale from a potential customer who told me that they'd met me at a networking event 13 years ago in Swindon, and they'd now like to be a client of mine. And I've been following up with that person literally on a weekly basis by email for over 13 years, and they were now a client. And it just goes to show that, keeping in touch, when the time's right, people make a decision, and often that decision is to buy from you. So keep in touch consistently. There's an interesting message in what I just said there as well, and that is that I've been keeping in touch every week, not once a quarter, not once a year, every week. Now, when I say keeping in touch, I've not been phoning them up for every week for 13 years. That might be a little bit over the top, although who knows. But what I have been doing is I've added them to my email marketing, and I've been sending them weekly, sometimes twice a week, emails out into my list. And therefore, I've been keeping in touch. I've been touching them. I've been communicating with them on a very, very frequent basis. So we got three things now, I think. One is speed. Let's get that first communication out there. Number two is never give up. Keep going until they die or buy. Number three is to keep keep that frequently. Not once a quarter, not a quarterly newsletter. We need to be better than that. And for anybody who's thinking, well, I don't want to bombard people, get over it. True, you don't want to bombard them, but you do want to keep in touch on a regular basis. Yeah, I think more people underdo it than overdo it. Okay, sometimes people overdo it. I accept that. And sometimes people go, oh, will you stop harassing me? Well, yes and no is the truth. But, my belief is if I really truly believe that, as I do, by the way, that I can have a major impact on someone else's profit, their business, the amount of sales that they get, and ultimately their quality of life, then I owe it to myself and to them to do my very best to persuade them that that's the case. Why would I want to undersell myself and not let my client benefit from my experience? That's the way I honestly look at it. And, dependent what you do, you may not be in sales or marketing, but, you need to think about it that, would your product, would your service benefit your client? If it would, then you owe it to them to keep in touch. Now, I'm going to finish off by just telling you one thing. I read recently, it was actually in I think it was a video. Yeah, it was a video. It was a video by Grant Cardone. Grant's a multi-millionaire, very, very successful business person. And he said that some research that he'd done, or his team had done, found that most of the sales, and I think he used the term 68% of all sales, are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. Between the 5th and the 12th contact. So my advice to you is to start thinking about your sales system and developing a system that has at least 12 things. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to send them 12 emails. It means you're going to email them. Perhaps you're going to post them something, physically in the post. You might text them. You're certainly going to phone them. You might invite them to a webinar. You might show them a video. And so you build up a variety of different ways of communicating with that people, or with that person rather, and doing that in a consistent way, making sure that you've got at least 12 contacts. Now, I'd like to just add one point. Don't minimize, in fact, do maximize the number of phone calls that you're going to make. So it doesn't mean, right, okay, well, I need 12 different ways, one of which is going to be a phone call. Okay, so if you've got 12, perhaps 4 calls should be part of that. An initial call, a follow-up with an email. You then maybe send them something through the post. You follow up on the phone call to make sure they've received what it is you sent. You then invite them to a webinar, and then you follow up after the webinar to see what they thought of the webinar. You then send them a video, and again you follow up that particular video in order to ask them what they thought of the video, and so on and so forth. So you get the idea. So what I'm trying to get for you here is a really good sales system. And by the way, if you want help with this is an area that I specialize in. This is an area that I've got 26 plus years experience in. This is an area that I've worked with thousands of businesses in hundreds of industries, helping them to make many, many millions of pounds of additional unforeseen income. One client that I helped develop a LinkedIn sales strategy made 42 million in 6 months, 42 million pounds of additional unforeseen income in 6 months. So just get that. I mean, obviously there's no promises on that front, but just get that into your head. And I'm saying that not to impress you, but to impress upon you the potential of what I'm talking about. So if you need any help, get in touch. Best place to do that is go to Steve-Mills, that's M-I-L-L-S, steve-mills.com, and click on the gold button on the homepage. That will give you access to my diary, and you can just schedule a meeting on Zoom exactly when at a time that suits you. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and look forward to seeing you on my next podcast, or speaking to you on my next podcast. If you would like to sign up, that would be great. Go to my YouTube channel and sign up to that. If you type in Steve Mills Marketing, you'll find me on YouTube, and there's loads of great videos there to help you to grow your business. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and speak soon. Bye.